Welcome to your 1.4 Algebra 2 lesson. Today we're going to rewrite and evaluate formulas and equations. And so like it says on your notes, a formula is an equation that relates two or more quantities, usually represented by variables. So you're going to have at least two variables in each one that we're looking at. And then you're going to be told to solve for a particular variable. And that means to rewrite the equation as an equivalent equation in which the variable that you're solving for is on one side by itself and does not appear on the other side. So we want it isolated. So sometimes people will talk about it that way, isolate your variable. And this is useful in the future of this math class and future math classes, but also in any kind of application of math. In particular, you're going to need to be able to use this skill in science classes. Okay. Our first example, we're going to solve the formula C equals 2 pi r for r, then find the radius of a circle with a circumference of 44 inches. So there's two steps to this process. Alright, so for our solution, step 1 is solve the formula for r. So we look at what we have, we write out the circumference formula, and we kind of think about what's going on here. We've got C equals 2 pi r. That means that C equals 2 times pi times r. So r is being multiplied by two things. It's being multiplied by 2 and by pi. So to undo that, we want to divide by 2 pi. So we're going to divide both sides by 2 pi. And that means on the left-hand side, you'll have C over 2 pi, nothing to cancel there. On the right-hand side, we would have 2 pi r over 2 pi. And so the 2's would cancel and the pi's would cancel, and we would be left with just r. So C over 2 pi equals r. So we've isolated our variable. We've solved for r. So step 2 is we're going to substitute the given value into the rewritten formula. So we're going to substitute in 44 for circumference. So we're going to substitute 44 for C and simplify. So we're going to have r equals C divided by 2 pi. So substituting in 44, we'll have 44 over 2 pi, which when we put it in our calculator and evaluate is approximately 7. So the radius of the circle is about 7 inches. Okay, I'm going to switch PowerPoints here to go to example 2. After we're done with example 2, we'll end this first video so that the videos aren't too long, and then we'll pick up another video with another video for examples 3 and 4. Okay, now in this example, I'm going to warn you, there's a typo. On your notes, it's correct, but there is a typo in the problem here. This is a PowerPoint that kind of came with the textbook, and I can't edit it, but we will get to editable ones later, so things like this won't happen. So I apologize. It says solve the formula P equals 2L plus W. Wait a minute, that looks a lot like perimeter, but there should be a 2 in front of that W, and there should be. And it's correct on your notes, so your notes are good to go, and the rest of the PowerPoint is correct. So we'll just forgive on this one little typo, but we know that that should be P equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. We're going to solve for W. Then we're going to find the width of the rectangle with a length of 12 meters and a perimeter of 41 meters. And so there's a nice little picture there telling you the perimeter. Remember, that's the linear distance all the way around the rectangle. It's like if we had a fence around the rectangle, how big it would be. And then it shows you that the length is 12 meters, and then the width is unknown, so it's left as a W. Okay, so we're going to work on our solution. So we're going to write the correct formula here when we solve the formula for W. And the correct perimeter formula is P equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. Okay, so now we are going to subtract 2L from each side. Let's talk about why. We're trying to isolate the W. So before we worry about undoing the 2 that's multiplying it, we look to see if there's any other terms on that side of the equation, and there is, and so we move those to the other side. Since it's a positive 2L plus 2W, we're going to subtract 2L so that it will cancel out on the right hand side. So we're going to subtract 2L from both sides, so we're just going to have P minus 2L on the left. On the right, when we subtract 2L, they'll cancel away, so we just have 2W. So now we've got 2 times W. To solve for W, we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. So on the left, we're just going to have to write that as P minus 2L all over 2 because we're dividing that whole side by 2 equals W. Because when we do 2W divided by 2, the 2's will cancel and we're just left with W. So yay, we're done with the first part we saw for W. Now we need to substitute and simplify the values that were given. So we're going to substitute the given values into the rewritten formula. So we're going to substitute 41 for P and 12 for L. So we'll have 41 minus 2 times 12 over 2. So 2 times 12 is 24. 41 minus 24 is 17 over 2. I'm going to keep simplifying. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So the width of the rectangle is 8.5 meters. So that takes us through the end of example 2. So that's going to be the end of our video 1. I'll see you in just a minute in video 2.